Some right-wing influencers are now railing against women voting? Yeah, things are getting pretty weird.
When it comes to dealing with the rights woman problem, there are definitely those of you out there who will just say, well, it's simple, we need to repeal the 19th. And trust me, I am no fan of the 19th Amendment myself. I think it, more so than anything else, solidified in our consciousness the idea that the political process should be one person, one vote, which is not a good system. I don't believe in democracy. I believe individual rights and limited government are way more important than the idea of everybody having a vote. And if the past few generations have showed us anything, it's that democracy and individual rights and limited government don't often go hand in hand. I'm in favor of a limited franchise, and by the way, no, that's not a radical position. That is the position that the founding fathers have.
There's a lot to unpack here, and we're gonna break it all down, but first, I'm Brad Palumbo, and welcome back to Mediaite, your home for commentary and coverage on the intersection of media and politics. So the right-wing YouTuber Chen, who you just heard in this clip, isn't the only one in the online right making this argument. It's bizarrely become somewhat trendy in kind of fringe online right-wing spaces for influencers to argue that the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote, was a massive mistake, and argue that women should be disenfranchised and denied equal participation in our society and in our government. Equally bizarrely, it usually seems to be female influencers themselves making this argument, not their male counterparts. It's honestly a head-scratching one, because whatever happened to conservatives believing that taxation without representation is wrong? Now, what they often argue is that women are too emotional to vote and decide political matters, because men are always so perfectly logical and rational. And that is why, in the telling of these people, women overwhelmingly vote for progressive policies that people like Chen view as tyrannical. Now, even if this were true, it wouldn't be necessarily a real argument for denying people participation in society and their rights, but it's actually not even anywhere close to as true as they make it out to be. Heck, even in 2020, Trump won nearly 40% of female voters, despite being on record having bragged about sexually violating women. So if Republicans run a female presidential candidate, or even just a male candidate who isn't so incredibly unappealing to women in 2028, they could easily get 50% of the female vote, or at least come close to it. Regardless, if anyone ever applied this same logic to race, for example, and said that because black people overwhelmingly vote for the Democratic Party, they should be stripped of the right to vote altogether, we would all see that for the fringe, insane, and racist idea that it is. It's just as bigoted to seek to deprive women of the right to vote because of collective trends. And yes, it's still sexist, even if the person saying it has XX chromosomes. And there's just something uniquely bizarre about these female political commentators who have built an entire career and brand and business around people taking their political opinions seriously, now saying that women as a whole just shouldn't be listened to on these matters and shouldn't have input. By your own logic, shouldn't you be in the kitchen making your husband a sandwich? Now, their reply could of course be, well, women as a whole are very emotional and not logical, but I'm different. I'm an individual, and I actually am rational and logical. And I would agree if that wasn't the exact same guilt by association logic they were using to deny all women the right to vote, even individuals who are perfectly rational, not at all emotional, based on their perception of collective trends. The truth is, there's no real logic or rationality behind these viral outbursts. They're just cheap clickbait intended to appeal to an overwhelmingly male audience that apparently, at least in the views of these creators, doesn't have much respect for women. You'd really think that female influencers with large platforms wouldn't use those platforms to foment sexism or make life harder for other women. But when it comes to certain commentators like Chen, you'd be wrong. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please do consider hitting that like button, and don't forget to comment with your thoughts below. Please do subscribe and stick around, and maybe even turn on those bell notifications. With that, I'll see you all in the next video.